There are many things you wish you had done differently, many decisions you wish you could change, but that is just a wish, and you cannot change the past. Beloved, no matter the decisions you took yesterday, the regret of yesterday, and what it has cost you, it doesn't define you. Your old wounds doesn't define you in any way because Christ has given you a new name, a new identity, and you have been redeemed from the consequences of your actions. Sometimes the decisions we made in the past were because we thought that was the best course of action. If we wouldn't have known better, maybe we would have made better decisions, but it's all right. God still got you. Guilt and shame have a way of dragging you down the pit of regret, and if you are not careful, you will remain there for the rest of your life. Regret stops you from moving forward and makes you feel like the worst person on the planet Earth and not deserving of anything good in your life. But that is a lie from the pit of hell. The devil might have made you feel like a bad person and you beat yourself up over and over again because of what you did, but it is enough. Now it's your time to arise above your old self, rise above the mistakes and rise above the regrets because your old wounds doesn't define you. Some of us have refused to move on from a particular failure because we have let that one failure determine who we are. Just because you failed at doing something once or twice doesn't define you. Some people have failed at the beginning of their lives but they ended up becoming great because they did not allow that failure to define who they are. For every successful story you hear, there are one, two, or even more failure attempts behind it before they finally got it right. So never allow the failure you experience to determine how the future looks like. Your old wounds doesn't define you because the plans that God has for you are for good and not for evil, and it will bring you to the future He has promised you. People will call you a failure, but that is okay because their judgment doesn't determine what God has in store for you or how you will turn out to be. Most times, the reason why we end up frustrated is that we dwell on our failure and don't see the other things we are good at. Just because you failed at doing a particular thing doesn't mean you will fail at doing everything. To each of us, there is something that God has deposited inside of us. And just because we are not good at a particular thing doesn't mean we will not be excellent at the other things. Beloved, your old wounds doesn't define you because you will learn from your mistakes, make the necessary corrections and adjustments, and then you move on to the next thing that God has in store for you. Beloved, it's time to rise above your wounds and pain and look unto God because that is where your help comes from. You still can be great because that failure doesn't define you, but you need to give in your best. No matter the number of times you have failed, keep on moving on until you meet your success. The people around you who knew you yesterday also have a way of making you feel you were still the old person you used to be, no matter how you explain to them that you were a new creature. You cannot force people to accept you for who you are now. And there are some people that no matter what you do to prove to them that you are different, they still will not change their thinking about you. Beloved, what other people think about you doesn't define you. Only God's opinion matters, so by all means, let them keep on believing what they want to believe. But that should not stop you from moving forward. No matter how deep your wound is, never allow people's opinion about you to stop you from becoming what God is allowing you to become. No one knows the heart of the Master concerning you, and so no one has the right to classify you as a failure or condemned. They laugh at you now because they don't see the big picture of your life. Your old wounds doesn't determine what your future will look like. So wipe your tears, forget about what they say, and keep on moving. And I promise you, with the Lord on your side, your tomorrow is greater than today. If the people around you don't allow you to move past your old wound, then let them go. Distance yourself from anyone that will prevent you from seeing the light in your present situation, and away from people who can't bear to see your transformation. Also, it is time to forgive yourself if your old wounds is a result of your carelessness. None of us are perfect, and as much as we walk on the surface of the earth, we are bound to make mistakes. However, you should never allow those mistakes to define you. Most times, God has already forgiven us, but we find it so hard to forgive ourselves. Holding yourself back is not going to change what you have done, neither will it justify your act. The best thing you can do for yourself so that you can see the beautiful future and place that the Lord has for you is to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for your wrong decisions and allow God to transform you into what He has already wanted you to be. You of yesterday are different from you of today, and so you cannot allow your old wounds to keep on affecting you now. The devil thought he will keep you from the guilt, but today you make a choice to stop playing regret. Your old wounds is a part of who you once were, and they are what propel the new you that God has created you to become. There was a reason it happened, and now you are more experienced and you have learned the things you will need to make a better person. Beloved, it is time to own your old wounds, but never give them the power to control you, because they do not define you. The disappointments of yesterday also doesn't define you. Just because things did not go as planned doesn't mean you are a disappointment. Very soon, you will meet your appointment. Nothing you have or have failed to do in the future can stop you from creating a success. So why not start now? Many of us are good at discouraging ourselves from doing anything meaningful with our lives. Just because we were disappointed, we have concluded that everyone in the universe is the same, but I tell you it is not so. The devil has clouded your sense of reasoning, and so you are unable to see that everyone on this planet Earth will disappoint you.